LA Kings fans, welcome back. It is a new hockey season. It is finally here. And I feel like it took the Kings longer than everybody else in the league to get here because it did. We are the last team to have their season opener. We had it at home. Notoriously, when we do this against the Sharks, we suck. I was pleasantly surprised. There were definitely some things to build on, some very positive aspects of the game, some things that sucked, and we'll get to them. Like the fact that we gave up the first goal, but hey, it took us 10 minutes to do that. That is 10 minutes longer than I gave us credit for. Oh my gosh. So we're playing the Sharks. They lost their home opener on Wednesday to the Ducks 5-2. Not pretty. Not the least pretty. There were some very interesting games, but let's just focus on the Kings for tonight. So we've got some new faces in our lineup. Dustin Brown is out about a month, I'm guessing, with a broken finger, and you should have seen the poor boy's face. He looked absolutely devastated not to be in the opening night lineup, and I feel for him. He's put in so much work. He was talking at the season ticket holder event before the season started, and he was so excited and geared up, especially after last season. Everything that he was able to accomplish and come back with. So huge blow. I'm hoping that's the only one. You'll see why as we go further in. The Kings just have this, I don't know, habits is not the right word, but we have this tendency to lose important players at the beginning of seasons. Jonathan Quick, Jeff Carter, Marian Gaborik when he was useful. So Dustin Brown seems to be it. Couple other players out, but for the most part, a pretty healthy lineup. I just jinxed the hell out of that, didn't I? So you've got your usuals. You've got your Jonathan Quicks. You've got your Kopitar on a line with our very newly acquired, can't pronounce his first name, Kovalchuk. That was a huge get for the Kings. I'm curious to see how that works out for the Sharks, who got Erik Karlsson. Thanks. That's gonna suck. Not too impressed with him tonight, but anyway. And then Vegas in our division also upped their game with getting Matt Pacioretty. So Kovalchuk will have to be the Kings' kind of offensive. I can't think of the word. It's very late. I have not had a lot of sleep because I'm so excited that hockey is here. So they're looking to Kovalchuk to score, which is something the Kings desperately needed considering they went 1-6-1 in the preseason, got shut out in their last 2 games. So when they started with a power play like 5 minutes into the first period and didn't do anything on it and then proceeded to let them score almost immediately after in the most LA Kings move ever, I was concerned. Yeah. And then they scored again, and it was 2-0, and it just, it looked like it was going to be one of those games where the Kings just could not get their act together. They have some fairly decent lines to begin the season with. You've got your That 70s line. You have your third line of Tanner Pearson, Adrian Kempe, and Wagner, Austin Wagner, who, wow, that kid is fast. The entire third period, I just spent gaping at him. He had 3 undeniable breakaways where it was just nobody could catch up to him, and Jones had to be really sharp and do some really hot, sexy goaltender things in order to stop him. That Wagner kid, he's one to look at. Really good speed, and you put him on a line with Kempe, and then you got Lewis in the middle. I really, really liked that line. You had Kopi, Kovalchuk, and Iafallo playing on their top line. And they were pretty decent, actually. They're a very decent top line, so I really like how things are shaking out for the Kings. I'm curious to see what happens when Dustin Brown makes the lineup again. Excited for that. But tonight, we had pretty decent 4 lines rolling against the Sharks there. So, first 2 goals down aside. That's so LA Kings. We managed to get one back, though. Captain Kopi, who managed to just kind of sneak it in past Jones there, who left himself very, very vulnerable by going out, and something that Jonathan Quick does, and manages to get back to like 99% of the time, but Jones did not, and Kopitar took advantage, and bam, it's 2-1, and things are not looking quite so bad at the end of the first period. We go into the second period, and it's still pretty even. If you look at the first period, shots were even, hits were even. We were probably out hitting them, and we did end up just smashing the crap out of them, because that's what we do. You know, with the nicest, most professional hockey way possible. So yeah, we go into the second, and almost immediately, 37 seconds into the first period, bam, second goal. Almost exactly the same as the first goal, but just in the sense that it looked like that's what happened, but actually the shot from Tyler Toffoli was just, I don't even know. That kid is a whiz when he wants to be, and it looks like Papa Karts is really getting some good chemistry with Tanner and Toff, and they're all good together. So if that 70s line is running smoothly, I am a happy camper. So it's 2-0, very, very early into the second period. Things are going fast. There's a lot of goaltending at either end, and Jonathan Quick's just making some spectacular saves, just like, you know, Jedi Quick, the elite things that these Kings fans have become used to watching, and we're really quite spoiled. And then, you know, at the other end, Wagner was doing his thing, and Jones was having to come up, and he was, and it was annoyingly good. But, you know, honestly, a team that has Crossland now and Burns, I just kind of expected a little more from that, and I was not super thrilled with Carlson, but given that it's the first official game of this, well, second for them, I imagine that he will warm up and start to get more used to the team, so not looking forward to that. So there's a few scuffles going on at the end of the second period as it's closing out. We got our first penalty kill, which lasted 4 whole seconds before Pavelski did something stupid and went into the box, and we did some 4-on-4 for a little bit. And then literally at the end of the second period, Muzzin gets elbowed, and Jonathan Quick decides that you can't do that to Jake Muzzin, so he goes up and punches the guy in the face, which is awesome, especially considering the biggest red flag of the night, in which every single Kings fan in attendance, everyone on Twitter, everyone watching at home, started panicking. Drew Doughty gets hit. And it's so far behind the play that the cameras can't even pick it up. They had to find a camera angle that was not focused on the play later to figure out what had happened to him. He got whacked in the back of the knee with a stick, completely off the play. I still haven't seen it. I don't know how illegal it was, if there should be supplemental discipline. I feel like maybe there should be because it was so far behind the play, but I don't really want to comment given that I didn't see what happened. And he goes down. He takes a little bit to get up, and he goes back down to to the locker room, at which point we're like, oh my god, like they've already taken out Dustin Brown, please. I was even joking earlier that because this is what the Kings do, is have very early in the season injuries, that we needed to wrap Drew Doughty in bubble wrap. So I clearly jinxed that. I apologize, Kings fan. Totally my fault, clearly. And the Kings came back with gusto. So the last half of the second period, they were pissed. And they were snappy and on fire, and I loved everything I was seeing from it. And then he came back just in time for a power play, which we didn't do a whole lot with, but it was really, really good to see him back on the ice. So I believe Doughty is fine. He was still a little iffy for the rest of the second skating on that, but, you know, he's Drew Doughty. So this is the dude that would play through a broken leg if he could. So we come back, the beginning of the third. Doughty's fine. Everyone's playing well. We start with a power play because of the illegal elbow to Jake Muzzin's head. And things are rolling along, again, about as evenly as the rest of the game have been. And considering how the Kings tend to do against the Sharks in home openers, I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, our power play still sucks. I feel like that is going to be true for 90% of the games I talk about. So I've almost given up on trying to get a good power play. But defensively, we were really good. Like I said, I loved what I saw from Wagner. Absolutely fantastic. When he got a little more experience and is able to finish off that against a less experienced non-Stanley Cup championship goaltender, he's going to, and that's going to be really exciting to watch. So I am looking forward to that. We get to the end of the third period, and with like 2.5 minutes left, Kempe and his whole line is just absolutely gassed, and he takes a penalty, and I was just thinking, oh yeah, that's just enough time to screw up the game without enough time to fix it. Thankfully, our Jedi Knight, Jonathan Quick, was on top of it. Some very timely clears on that penalty kill, and we go into overtime, which was honestly a lot more than I was expecting from our home opener. Really, I know preseason doesn't mean much, but you go 1-6-1, you lose 6.5 of your 8 games and get shut out. I really didn't have high hopes for this game at all, so getting a point was exciting. And then you really got to see what danger the Sharks are going to be. I think they greatly improved their team in this offseason. I think they still have a pretty good core, and I am very, very concerned to see what they are going to do this season. And it was very obvious with the 3-on-3 that the Kings were playing from behind, which is not something they usually do in a 3-on-3. They had way too many extended shifts that only lasted 2 or 3 minutes, and I think we only got 2 to maybe 3 different shifts out there. So they were back on their heels a lot. Kopitar, damn, Kopitar is good. I mean, we know this. This is not a surprise to anyone, but yeah. Kopitar was making some plays. After 1.5 minutes on the ice, he's still trying to skate up and do amazing things. And sometimes I have no idea how that man manages to keep on to a puck, but he does, and he's phenomenal. I love watching him. Didn't come to be, maybe like 2.5 minutes in. Like I said, totally gassed, too many long shifts, it didn't have it. We didn't have it. So we lose our home opener, but we do get 1 point. So I'm going to say that's pretty much a win. From my perspective, like I said, things to work on, but objectively, really not a bad game. Fairly even, and considering how well I think the Sharks are going to do this season, I was very impressed at what we managed to put up against them. So I'm looking forward to this season more than I thought I was going to. We'll see how that changes in the next couple of games. Haha, I'm so fickle. But ride or die, I love my Kings. I'm going to leave you today. I really miss being able to leave you with Chris Sutter Dance Cam, but alas, that is no longer happening. I missed the beginning. I thought I was recording. I'm sorry. I totally failed. There was a Marine who was our hero of the game, and he was deployed overseas and did not tell his family that he was coming back. I'm pretty sure the wife knew, but he has four very young children who did not know that he was coming home. And so there's a video up on the Jumbotron of him in wherever he was overseas, saying that he misses them and he knows they're at the Kings game, but he's going to come home real soon. And as they're staring up at the Jumbotron in the center of the ice, looking up at it, you see him coming out. So he surprised his whole family by being there at the Kings game. It's so beautiful and emotional, and that is what I'm going to leave you with. So happy home opener, Kings fans. I look forward to 81 more. And then, you know, how many games does it take to win a Stanley Cup? 16? Yeah. So that many more games left in our season. It's going to be great.